What's happening? We're back. Hanging out in the shop. Still working on the Mustang. This has been a super time-consuming project. Been doing a ton of wiring on this car. And by a ton, I mean pretty much rewired the whole car. Pretty much from the fuse panel out, everything's been rewired. If you haven't seen our last video on the wiring deal, go check it out. It turned out really good compared to what it looked like before. But now we all got that pretty well knocked out. Everything's good to go there. And we're just kind of following up with finishing some of the little stuff that we haven't finished up yet. I still have to make headlight tabs for the bumper. I'm kind of torn because I don't know if I'm going to use this bumper, so I don't know if I need to even bother making tabs. This bumper's pretty roached, and I keep putting time into it. I'm like, you know, I'm going to completely strip this thing down and repaint it. I honestly might be better off starting with a different bumper, so I may try and find just a normal GT bumper and paint it, and I'd like to find an OEM one, because this aftermarket Cobra bumper, this thing fits like shit. It doesn't help that obviously it's been cut up and all this stuff, but I hate it. I hate the way it fits. I hate the way it looks on the car. I want to buy, what is it, Shonek, like Outlaw bumper for the front of it, but they're like $800 and they're like 5.5 months out, maybe longer. So you figure 5 months with the way everything's going right now, you're probably looking at 7 months. What's 7 months from now? It's July, August, September, October, November, December, January. So I might have it for next season. That ain't gonna work for me. I mean, for the time being, I guess I can use this bumper and throw it on and be able to get the car out and test it this year. But next year, this thing will come out with one of those bumpers on it. Today, we're gonna paint this front stub. My brother painted it whenever we built it last year, the year before, for him, and the color red does not match. You can see the two color reds. And then obviously with me grinding and welding on stuff, it just all needs repainted. I've contemplated on painting it red, but I think eventually I'm gonna end up painting the cage in the car black because it's red right now. So I think I'm just gonna paint all this front end black and then match basically everything. I'm gonna paint the intercooler, the radiator, everything. I'm gonna paint everything black, minus the aluminum downpipe. I'll probably leave that raw just because. Maybe I'll find some high temp satin flat black something and maybe paint the upper part, but this lower bullhorn's gonna stay raw aluminum. But yeah, so we're gonna get this thing back on the lift. I gotta jack it up and roll it back, get it lifted up, and then I'm just gonna start pulling everything off the front end. Pull the wheels, tires, everything, all the wiring that I've wired out to the radiator and stuff. I'm gonna pull that all back and lay it back, and we're gonna try and do a pretty good job of this. I don't want to get overspray all over everything, so I've got some plastic sheeting we'll put over the car. I got painter's tape and all this stuff, so we're gonna try and tape everything down and keep overspray to a minimum. But yeah, we're gonna paint this stuff black. I'll show you what we're gonna use. Got some of this VHT roll bar chassis black. I've used this on stuff before and I really like it. It looks really good. So I'm pretty excited to see what it looks like on the front of the car. You know, with everything black. I don't know. I think I'm gonna follow this line right here where he's got it taped off. I think I'm gonna follow that and just, so pretty much here forward will all be black, which might look weird. I don't know, maybe it'll look cool. We'll see. But anyways, let's get this thing up on the lift and start tearing it apart. One other thing I wanted to mention. This car used to be a 26-inch tire car. I put a 275 radial on the back of it. I like the 275 radial. This thing has so much front end travel for a car that was built, I don't know, like 10 plus years ago. That was back when it was pretty well raced competitively. I think it's been 10 years probably. It used to race in a local series here for an 8.5-inch tire, but I'm pretty sure this thing's got, yeah, like it's got like 7 or 7.5 inches of travel, which doesn't sound like a lot, but to me, it sounds like a ton. And it's hard to tell with the front end off of it. But I mean, that thing, look at that travel. I mean, if it was a no prep car, this thing would probably kick ass. All right, so as you saw there, we got the car kind of taped off or plasticed off. You know, I got a bunch. I used to use this plastic whenever I painted cars. I don't really paint cars anymore, but I still had some leftover plastic. Just covered up. Obviously the overspray will kind of blow around in the shop here, and I'm just rattle canning it, so it's not gonna be too bad. I'm gonna try and not get super carried away with putting heavy coats on it, just so I don't have a whole lot of overspray floating around. But I'm gonna go super old school, mad tight JDM Honda guy, and we're gonna bust out the aluminum foil. I'm gonna kick on the time lapse here. We'll do a little scuffing with some Scotch-Brite and start laying some paint down on this thing. All right, so we got it all scuffed up. I wiped it off with glass cleaner. I do see a couple other little spots I need to touch up that are still kind of shiny. But I am gonna go over all this bare metal stuff with some self-etching primer. I tried to get gray self-etching primer, but they didn't have any, so I got this olive color. That kind of sucks, but oh well, it's gonna be black, so it's not really gonna matter. But Transtar 6183, so this should obviously etch the bare metal pretty good. So I'm just gonna dust in some of this bare metal stuff, and then once it tacks up, I'll go back through and touch up some of the little shiny spots. I think there's a couple of shiny spots over on this bar here, because I kind of whizzed through this side pretty quick compared to this side over here. But we'll touch this up with some primer, let it set, and then we'll start painting. So we're back working on the Mustang, and got the intercooler all modified. Had to see if I can show you this here. Got the intercooler all modified. I put that 3-inch section on there, but there's still the that's 3.5, sorry. 3.5-inch section on it, so it comes in from the turbo in 3-inch and then comes out to go to the throttle body in 3.5. But I've still got this section in here that I need to cut out. You can see there, that's all 3-inch there. So I tried to get a piece of hole saw that would fit down inside of it. Here's a piece of 3.5. So the only thing they had was like 3.25. It's gonna get me pretty close, because pretty much it was 3-inch, 3.5, or 3.25. 3 inches too small. Obviously 3.5 too big. 3.5 was the same size as the pipe. But this one, I'm gonna have to pull the drill bit off of it. Otherwise I'm gonna drill right into the core there. But my plan is to just put that in there and hole saw most of it out. And then I'll go in with the carbide bit and clean the rest of it out, you know, with that, and kind of fine tune the opening there. But I'm gonna go ahead and take this blade or this drill bit out of here, and then we're gonna try and cut this hole out, trim it up, get this thing painted and put it back on the Mustang, and we'll show you what the front end of the car looks like all black. So see you in a second. All right, so as you saw there, took me a little bit, but I got that out. Now we're a little closer to 3.5. It did kind of make a mess of this pipe, so I wanted to go in and clean that up. What I probably should have did was tack this on, drill that hole, you know, break the tacks off of it, and then go through and clean it all up. But hopefully the section inside here that got beat up pretty good, hopefully that's not super thin now, because then, you know, we may take a chance of blowing out the side of the weld or something. But yeah, I'm gonna go through, clean this up, I'll vacuum it out, and I'll probably actually flush water through it, but I'll flush it from that direction on the end and then try and flush everything out this way. That way I'm not trying to push anything back through it. Maybe what I end up doing, we'll see what it looks like whenever I get done trying to clean this out, you know, by hand and with the vacuum. But all right, well, got everything painted. Normally you know, I would have loved to powder coat some of this stuff, but powder coat's expensive, and you know, this thing's probably going to get changed, you know, down the road, who knows. But like I said, I've got everything painted, pretty much got it back together, aside from putting the fenders on it. But here, let's just show you what it looks like. There it is. I left the front part of the intercooler looking like an intercooler, you know, so you can see it through the bumper. But I painted the radiator so it kind of disappeared in the grill. You wouldn't, you know, when you're looking at it from the front, you wouldn't see the radiator right next to the turbo. So now on the grill, you should just be able to see the turbo, and that's it. But kind of undecided. I kind of like just the turbo just sticking out in the darkness, you know, kind of on its own. But maybe down the road I'll have it powder coated or something, and maybe I'll do ceramic coat on the downpipe or something. Might be kind of cool. I would love to, like I said, get the headers and the crossover pipe done, and that, I think that'd be really cool, like a charcoal gray or something. But man, everything just disappears in the darkness there, which is kind of what I wanted. You know, before it was like raw aluminum, you know, dirty aluminum, red piping everywhere, wires and zip ties. You know, at least this way, if I run loom and wire and zip ties, you know, up the down bars and stuff here, they'll kind of disappear in it. You won't see it, but it's there, man. It's together. We're still waiting on a couple things, but trying to figure out what I want to do with the bumper situation. But pretty soon, maybe we can get this thing on the rollers, do a little tuning on it, see what kind of power it makes with these new heads, and hopefully from there we can get this thing out and go and do some testing. This one front shock is pretty wasted, so that kind of sucks, and I've lowered the car so it's effectively messed with the bump steer, so I'm probably gonna have to do some adjusting there, and then I still need to do wastegate dumps. But that's all stuff down the road. It's not a big deal. I can, you know, figure that out between now and then. But there it is. Tell me what you guys think. Do you like all the black? Did you like the red up front before and all the raw aluminum, or is this, you know, does this look pretty good? Let me know. Leave a like, you know, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. But that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Mustang's coming along, starting to look a little bit nicer now. So Don't forget, comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell, get all the notifications. We'll see you guys on the next one.